saludos going out para la Emily, Christian, Kevin, Jessica, Sandra, Lydia, and we want to send a great big happy belated birthday saludo going out to Michael. They are studying the Borderlands right here in Southern Arizona. They're from Loyola Marymount University, and they're here on their spring break. So what a great way to learn about the Borderlands than to be right here. That's cool, guys. Thanks again for listening. Hi, Sandra.
I chose to organize a trip to Tucson, Arizona a few years ago because SB 1070 had just passed. And SB 1070, is legislation that basically made it legal to racially profile individuals. So it was really important for us to look at, our neighboring state and to say, these are really horrific laws that are happening, anti-immigrant, and we need to look at them closely. So I'm very happy that we came here.
Hi, Kathy. Will you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more of the organizations that you're involved in and what they do?
So I'm involved with Mariposas Sin Fronteras, and so Mariposas Sin Fronteras is a grassroots organization here in Tucson, Arizona, and it's we support LGBTQ people in immigration detention and also post-detention. And so I also work here at Borderlinks. So the Borderlinks mission is to provide people with educational experience to learn about immigration and border issues and what's happening here in Tucson and the kind of work people are doing. So that's part of my job here at Borderlinks.
Our delegation wasn't just attending workshops and hearing presentations. We were actively engaged in the work that the local organizations do. So when we went and met with the No More Deaths organization that provides humanitarian aid out in the desert, we went out in a migrant trail, an active migrant trail at that, and traveled through the terrain and left water at spots that are known to have people crossing through.
Yesterday on Sunday was the desert walk to do like a water drop to leave water for migrants crossing in the desert around Arivaca, which was about like an hour south of here, I think. But that began to give me a little bit more insight into their experience on a very emotional level. It's not just like that they're pushed into these zones, into these environments in your head, because somebody can tell you that, but then to actually walk through and to feel even for a fraction of the time that they feel it, to feel the heat and to slip on a rock or to be poked by a plant or cactus or all the other things that have needles out there, thorns. You really do get like a window into how difficult that would be, and that was really impactful for me.
So on that migrant trail where we were dropping off, we all carried like snacks, waters. At one checkpoint, I just started feeling really, really sick. Like, I don't know, I've never experienced that pain before in my life. I guess that's when everyone knew it was like a heat stroke, and that they were glad that it was a heat stroke. Because if it was something else, they wouldn't have known what to do with it. Mind you, we're in the desert, and there's like no service there, so that experience made me realize how privileged I was. In the sense, like, I told this story to my friends and other people, and they're like, oh, you just experienced what a migrant would experience, and I don't think that's absolutely not correct, because I am so privileged to be with a group that, like, knew what they were doing, whereas other migrants might be going by themselves or strangers, and like my group knew me, my group would have taken care of me. And then not only that, my family knew where I was. So if I were to, something bad were to happen to me, they would know that this is the place where that happened. Whereas other migrants, some of them do have families, and their families will never know what happens to them.
Migrants are those fleeing, poverty and violence and desperation. I mean, who else would cross the border? Put yourself in their shoes. What would make you cross? What would make me cross? I mean, it would have to be really extreme.
We really can't address the immigration problem if we don't look at the root causes. And I think that that's really important to look at. Right now, there's a lot of profit. There's a lot of profit on migration, on these private detention facilities. A lot of people are making money in the court systems, through Operation Streamline, through these different avenues. And so capitalism has a lot to do with what's going on with immigration and the criminalization of migrants.
My time here coming back home to Tucson has really underscored the importance of knowing one's history and knowing more about the United States and the United States' role in creating some of these root causes that are driving these migration patterns.
That the U.S. has funded all these coups around the world, in Guatemala, many other Central American countries, to make sure that everything is in their favor. And as a result, created these unjust conditions. It's just not right. And then to ask why these people are migrating over to the United States, it just doesn't make sense.
So I think it's, we're criminalizing people who are not criminals, right? Whose crime is to say, I want to find a way to survive.
Root cause and our policy. So when we spoke of comprehensive immigration reform in 1980s, we did not mean comprehensive militarization of the border. So they've hijacked that word and now I hate it. When we meant comprehensive, it meant what are we going to do with our policies so that we don't cause more migration? How about that? Looking at that, right? Because if we really were interested in reducing or stopping mass migration, at least, you address root cause. People don't just leave. But it took the dreamers to come in and say, you know what? You guys are all wrong up there, And so they shook things up, and they're the children of NAFTA that displaced and came. And the young people, those dreamers, have lived a reality that has has formed the best political perspectives in this country are held by dreamers. Even those kids that don't think they know anything, just because they've seen the reality of immigration and immigration laws.
I think that the stories that we hear here in Tucson are stories that we'll forever carry in our hearts and we'll carry back home in hopes of continuing to do something for others.
Each day there was just amazing stories of people just facing like insurmountable odds.
I've been very fortunate to come back here with this LMU delegation to just learn more and to observe and to feel and to really
start to understand more of the nuances and complexities of this immigration issue, not just here on the U.S.-Mexican border, but globally, and what that means. Local legislation, seeing people that are leaving water in the desert, such as No More Debts. The Coalición de Derechos Humanos, is fighting to help folks out with, finding their family members in detention. And there's also organizations like End Operation Streamline to bring light to let's stop the incarceration and criminalization of migrants. So in that aspect, I think it's been just such a great week to see that despite all the challenges that are happening against, there are always people that are struggling. There are always people that are organizing and mobilizing and are doing really great things.
My hopes is that we can live in a world that doesn't have borders, a world that doesn't have detention centers or prisons, in a world that there aren't people dying in the desert. And I feel like oftentimes for people that sounds like real idealistic, but I think until we can like force ourselves to like begin to imagine a world like that, then only can we like take the proper steps to make that happen.